We continue in Psalm 85 and verse 3 in part 3, where we will discover that in the end, Israel will receive God's mercy and forgiveness for their rejection of Jesus as Messiah. Personally, I believe that the primary purpose of the tribulation is more than judgment for the sinner and retribution for the rebellious. It is for the restoration of remnant Israel to the land and their receiving of their Messiah. For the child of God in this day, the judgment for sin is over. The sin question was settled when Jesus died on the cross for our sins. As a modern day songwriter put it, the old account was settled long ago. But there is something that does trouble me. It is the fact that I will have to stand before the judgment seat of Christ, as will every believer, to give an account of my life and my works. Our works are going to be tried by fire. 1 Corinthians 3:11 through 15 reads, "For no one can lay any other foundation than that which has been laid down. The foundation is Jesus Christ. If anyone builds on that foundation with gold or silver, costly stones, wood, hay, or straw, each one's work will become obvious, for the day will disclose it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test the quality of each one's work. If anyone's work that he has built survives, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned up, it will be lost, but he will be saved. Yet it will be like an escape through the fire. This is the judgment of the saints, the bema, and not the great white throne judgment of rebellion and evil." In the previous studies of the psalm, we have taken the time to look at the judgment of the world. But that is not the whole story. The passage speaks of times in Israel's past when God also withdrew all of his fury, and he turned away from his burning anger. Even at times when judgments had been most severe and well-deserved, the Lord's grace stayed his hand as he restored Israel's mercy in mercy. In mid-penalty, he had restrained his anger. The book of Judges is full of illustration of God's mercy in place of judgment, and the psalmist does well to quote them where Jehovah interceded, changing the gloom into gladness. But the good news for remnant Israel, there is coming a day when their eyes will be open. This is promised through the prophet Zechariah in chapter 12, verses 8 through 10. On that day, the Lord will defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that on that day, the one who is weakest among them will be like David on that day. And then the house of David will be like God, like the angel of the Lord was before them. On that day, I will set out to destroy all of the nations that come against Jerusalem. Then I will pour out a spirit of grace and prayer on the house of David and the residents of Jerusalem. And they will look at me whom they have pierced, and they will mourn for him as one mourns for an only child, and weep bitterly for him as one weeps for the firstborn. Their remorse was profound.